We're going to hear proposals. The proposer will come up and have 5 minutes to deliver their proposal. We've instituted a proposal form that we're going to start using soon. Some people started using it today, but we'll get to that more. You can come to facilitation meetings at 5:30 every day. So then you get 5 minutes. We're meeting at the North Steps generally at 5:30, unless someone changes that. So then, after the proposal is delivered, 5 minutes, it's got to have a what, a how, and a why to be a clearly formulated proposal. Then we'll open stack for questions from the audience so that we can all understand the proposal. Then you'll go to your stackers and we'll hear your questions, and then the proposer will have a chance to answer those questions. That period is supposed to take 5 minutes, but if we have a lot of questions, then naturally it's going to run. After that, we'll open the stack for concerns about the proposal. These are different than just points of clarification. This is like something that might potentially turn into a hard block. You want to get it addressed before we move on to a temperature check, which is to see if we consent to the proposal, and if we all consent to the proposal, then we have reached consensus. If there are hard blocks, at that time they will come up and explain what, how, and why they are hard blocking. Hard blocking means it's a strong moral danger to the movement, to solidarity, you'll walk away from the movement, various things like very serious concerns. So then, after that, the proposer will address and possibly amend the proposal, and then we'll open stacks for comments, maybe speaking for the proposal, and then the proposer will repropose again with amended language if necessary, at which point we'll take another temperature check, and if everyone consents at that time, then we've reached consensus. If not, then we go into 3-minute breakout discussion groups with the hard blockers talking to other people. We'll break into small groups and everyone can kind of talk about it for a while, and then we'll come up again with the amended language and see if we can reach consensus as well. If at that time there are any remaining hard blocks, the issue is tabled. Does everybody understand? Good, because I'm not going to run through that again. All right, so who do we have first on the agenda here?
Okay, we have Julia.
Oh wait, where did you do the ladies?
Yes. This is Julia. She presented a proposal on Friday, and she's going to give us her proposal now.
Woo.
All right. Here goes. So this proposal has been tabled. This is, I think, the 4th time. So I hope that, you know, it pushes through and everything is clear and we come away with consensus. Okay. So this proposal is for political independence for Occupy LA, and it reads as such from some of the changes from Friday. Number 1, this is the what is a pledge that we take. We take as Occupy LA. So all right. So here it is. Number 1, Occupy LA retains political independence from parties that receive multi-million-dollar donations from corporations and banks.
Slowly so we can repeat it.
Okay, cool. I'll do it slowly so you can repeat it. Number 1, Occupy LA retains political independence.
Occupy LA retains political independence
From parties that receive multi-million-dollar donations.
from parties that receive multi-million-dollar donations
From corporations and banks.
from corporations and banks.
That's number 1.
Yes.
Number 2, Occupy LA will not endorse any candidate
Occupy LA will not endorse any candidate
from any party that is sponsored
from any party that is sponsored
by multi-million-dollar donations
by multi-million-dollar donations
and corporations,
and corporations,
and reserves the right
and reserves the right
to challenge any elected official
to challenge any elected official
on their policies when they enter Occupy LA.
on their policies when they enter Occupy LA.
And number 3,
Number 3,
we ask that staff
we ask that staff
and campaign volunteers
and campaign volunteers
who work for those parties
who work for those parties.
Refrain from electioneering.
Refrain from electioneering.
In the Occupy LA space.
In the Occupy LA space.
And that's the conclusion of the proposal. Let's do it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we will now take questions for clarification. And these are only direct questions for clarification, not not concerns, not blocks, but questions. Please see your stacker if you have a question for clarification. Please see your stacker. Thank you. Okay, Barry has a question.
The first two parts of Julia's proposal are actually a mere paraphrasing of the points that the Occupy Wall Street movement already has incorporated. So I have no questions about those. And when it comes to urging people to vote, I will make my appropriate comments about voting, that one should vote for that. However, I am a bit confused about the third thing, about people refraining from electioneering. As I walked by in the previous times, I had seen a big tent saying Ron Paul in 2012. About 1 meter by 1 meter, big yellow sign. Does Julia propose that we tell those people to leave, take down this sign, or what? It sounds like an unimplementable thing, as well as an abridgment on First Amendment rights.
Thank you. Julia, do you want to comment on that question? Okay. So just to let everyone know, this question period will last 5 minutes.
Okay. In terms of the sign, it's really a request. In terms of First Amendment infringement, I think that it's really impossible for a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has resources, money, television ads, newspaper ads, internet ads, and a whole full staff of full-timers to be able for us to infringe on their First Amendment rights because we don't allow them in a 1-block radius. I think they infringe on our First Amendment rights because we don't have the access to television, radio, the internet, multi-million-dollar staff, full-time organizers, and all the other things that they have. It's not an infringement on First Amendment rights. They have every other medium. We should have ours.
Yeah. Woo! Okay, Barry, did that answer your question? Okay. Okay. What? Okay, Armando's next with a question for clarification.
Okay, let's say that we want to have Ralph Nader for president, and I'm not sure if he receives or he allows to receive corporate funding, but Ralph Nader has been the most progressive in the community, so I just want to have a question about that, my concern. What about people like Ralph Nader, if he wants to come down here and say, okay, I decided to run for president?
Any elected official can, they would come down, but I think what we would do then, or what this proposal, if it was to be implemented, is that we would have a right to question him on, for example, the Green Party in Germany supporting NATO. So we would be able to call him out on that. Any person can come here. It's kind of like the idea is kind of like voting. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to take too much time. But the idea is like, when you go to the polls and stuff and there's a certain area where you can't enter and you can't pass out flyers and whatever else. This is the request is that in this space that they don't do that. And it isn't, we're not going to club people over the head, but we're going to ask them to do it. And the important thing, the reason why it's important, even if it's just an ask and we're not going to, physically stop people from doing it, is that we're taking a stand that we will not be co-opted by any other political party. And that's what it is.
Okay, thank you. Now we have Josh with a question. Julia, you can stay up here if you want.
Oh, okay. Hi, Julia. And everybody. My question is that your proposal states that only parties that accept money from multimillionaires, and you started off by saying it was would be independent of political parties. So I'm just curious if you're accepting other parties that don't take money from billionaires or whatever. Because